Welcome back, everybody. Thursday morning show rolls on. Hey, tomorrow on the show, Corey Provis will join us, of course, back from the Twins road trip. Also, the new Missouri Valley Football Conference Chief Operating Officer, just announced yesterday, Eric Grooms, will join us about what his official job is and what he's going to be doing in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. That's coming up tomorrow, so looking forward to that. Our next guest we have not chatted with since basically the season ended, which is hard to believe, over 2 months ago. The Bison women's basketball team been busy, added a couple players through the transfer portal. Found out yesterday in the Big Sky Summit League Challenge, the games they're going to have, which includes the reigning Big Sky champions, Montana State, will be coming to Fargo for a game in December. Great to see Jory Collins back with us. Sam Getzinger was just on. He called the Class A tournament. He gave us the scouting report on one Jet Collins. Did you get to see Sam up in Grand Forks last week?
Well, I didn't get to see him because he was up in he was up in the booth, I think, the whole time calling the game. So I didn't see him. But I haven't reached out to him, but Sam did an awesome job.
Awesome.
Calling the baseball games. I can't believe he's doing that all day long. There was some busy days, but he was fantastic on the stream.
I will pass that along. You did a great job.
He did a great job.
So has baseball always been in the bloodlines of the Collins family? Was that something you grew up with as well?
You know, I played a lot when I was a kid, but a younger kid, Dom, and I probably quit playing. I think I gave up on baseball probably 8th grade and just did basketball and football and went fishing in high school. That was my 3 sports. My high school class ring has basketball and fishing on it. That's what's on my high school class ring.
Fantastic.
I had about 3 buddies. We thought we were going to be pro fishermen for a long time when we were young.
What were you fishing for?
Back in Kansas, we were bass fishing,
Okay.
cat fishing, all that stuff. But, I did enjoy baseball. I was a little bit, if I wasn't pitching, I got a little bored out there. But for whatever reason, my young Jet, when he was younger, just had an affinity for it and had some natural ability with it, good hands and stuff. And so we just kind of went with it.
Yeah,
I enjoy it because it's out of my season. It's a different season, environment.
And you're outside, right, man? This is the
outside,
one time.
I love it. Yes.
I was going to say, I was joking with you.
Plenty of time in the gym.
I was joking with you off air. This is one of the rare moments we got you not on the baseball diamond this morning.
That's right.
Yeah, the season was great. Horace has got a dynamite team. His couple of his teammates are, along with him, pretty darn good. They're going to be good again next season.
Yeah, we should be loaded up. Should be a lot of fun here.
Well, I mentioned off the top, you're starting to get a little piece of your schedule here. You now know your Big Sky opponents, and obviously where you finish means you're going to play the top half of the Big Sky. Describe the games you got coming up for next season.
Yeah, I mean, exciting. Obviously, Montana State was terrific last year. And I know they had some kids that graduated and moved on, but they still have a pretty good core coming back. So, she does a terrific job with what they do and have always been successful. That'll be obviously a tough game, but it should be a lot of fun getting to host them this time. And they kicked our butt there whenever that was, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
And then, honestly, Weber State, I don't know a ton about them. Haven't crossed paths with them yet, so that's exciting to get to go to a place we haven't been before. Flying into Utah there and go be able to check that out. So good matchups all around, it looked like, and obviously an exciting thing for us.
I know you talked to our friends over at Bison 1660. It sounds like Gonzaga is going to come to Fargo. Is that for real going to happen?
Yep, starting a home and home.
Wow.
I think I'd have to look, Dom, for the date, but I think it's that first Friday. I think maybe the 7th. We'll get that out as soon as we can get our stuff finalized, but that's exciting.
Yeah.
We've been trying to actually play them the last 2 to 3 years and just could not find, dates that worked for both of us. So, to be able to get them to come and play in a true home and home, is a lot of fun also.
Is that something, Jory, they reach out, or is that mutual? How does that all come about when you're trying to schedule something like that?
You know what? When you're really trying to schedule time, you go out on the road, you're at these recruiting things, who you're sitting by. Hey, you guys need games. We need games. What dates do you have? I mean, that's going around all the time.
Yeah.
And obviously, I have a ton of respect for their program and how good they are. And it's we want to challenge. We try to be strategic about where we're challenging ourselves in the non-con and trying to mix games that do that. Trying to mix games you think you can win. I mean, there's a little art and science both to trying to do that. You obviously don't get all the choices that you want all the time, but like I said, I think it wasn't last year's the year before. I really thought we had it done, and then just couldn't do it. Either they, have a game too close, or we had a game too close where we had to travel. But I'm glad we got it worked out.
And I know you went to Tulane last year. Are they coming back this year?
Yeah, Tulane will be here
Nice.
this year. I think they're probably the next Friday. I think so. We got a chance to have back to back Good Friday night home games. Um, a couple of just name teams I think is
Yes.
always nice to have in the non-con, and then obviously we're opening, not opening, but we're going to be pretty quick. Playing Nebraska at the
Yeah.
Pentagon again, so it'll be challenging schedule, obviously, but a lot of great teams and great some Midwest opponent there in Nebraska too.
To go back to the Pentagon, you did that a couple years ago with Creighton, and obviously knew how good they were. Is that you welcome that with open like, hey, Amy Williams, you know her well about what
Yeah,
Nebraska brings to the table.
yeah. I mean, they're going to be great. They're one of the best freshmen in the country last year, but the rest of their team, and we obviously know Logan well there, and some of their other players and kids we try to recruit
Yeah.
even. Callan Hake's a great player for them too, and it's just one of those early season contests. Let's go see where we're at against a Big Ten opponent that's going to make the NCAA tournament, and it's just a great challenge.
We have not had a chance to speak since the season ended, and now you're a couple months removed, and obviously you wanted to win that Troy game badly. How now? And we talked after the game in Sioux Falls at the Summit League tournament. How now you take a step back? Do you evaluate what happened in 24-25?
Yeah, I mean, up and down, Dom. Our particular team this year, I thought, weren't as consistent, and I think that was pretty reasonable given the youth that we were playing and maybe some new players in new roles. I thought it was a good year. I think I was hoping to not. I think we lost about 3 games during the year, Dom. I don't think we should have lost. And that's the disappointing thing. Hey, you're playing the top teams. You're not going to beat everybody every time, but there was a couple games, and no disrespect to Kansas City, but that's the whatever matchup that was. We're supposed to win that game in our mind, and we didn't get it done. That was super disappointing. What I was really proud of our team of is the mental switch. We took some days off after that. We came back and everybody was adamant about wanting to compete again and play in the WNIT, where a lot of teams are like, hey, let's just shut it down and move on to next year. And then we came out and played some of our best basketball in those 3 games, and it was awesome to get to play at home. Probably carried us to a couple wins there. And then, I know we didn't win the Troy game. They're a great team. We knew that from playing them in Alaska. But I thought we were super competitive, and I thought it was a really fun game regardless. And I was proud of our team and how they handled all that.
You're in the rare position in the mid-major where you're bringing back quite a bit of your team. For people that don't know, Jory, how much of an anomaly is your roster for next season? You're bringing back quite a bit for next year.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often. And I've had every one of my friends, or we go all these things, hey, how the portal, what happened? And I'm like, we lost one who was redshirting. Other than that, for this era, we were pretty unscathed. I said probably never happen again. But this particular off season for us has been fairly quiet. Obviously had some recruiting to do, but nothing out of the ordinary or nothing that dragged on for 8 to 10 weeks like it can for a lot of teams when you're in a position to where you have to go get 6, 7, 8 kids. That's a lot of work that takes a lot of time. So very fortunate there. We didn't have a long postseason, Dom, just
Right.
because we played all the way, I think, till the 31st of
Right.
March. So once you give them, the week, 10 days off to recover postseason, you really ended up with a 3.5 week postseason really before finals. But it was still good. It was still got a chance to get in and get some work and attack some weaknesses with our team. And they've been off here for a little bit in May. We're going to start again on Monday, 7:30, and first chance to work with our group and a couple of the newcomers too. So always exciting when you start a new year.
right after the season ended was the addition of Jossie Schiller. Give us the breakdown on how that come about and what can she do for your roster.
Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty quick thing. Once she went in the portal, just being who she is and where she's from, that was a no-brainer for us to reach out. And I think in her mind, she had plenty of other really nice offers, but I think in her mind, she's a North Dakota kid, and if it was going to work here, I think that was going to be her preference and getting to continue to rep her home state and be close to home and all those things. So that was just an easy fit, I think, for both of us. The thing about Jossie that we got to see firsthand as an opponent last year, and that I got to watch her in high school, was just her competitive fire, her ability to just make plays when necessary. She's just tough, very good athlete. It was able to make her teammates better. She had a lot of pressure on her last year as a freshman.
Yeah.
I mean, they asked her to do a lot. And I thought she rose to the occasion most of the time and was able to handle that. My hope for her here is that she's going to get to share the load a little bit more, and allow her to be fresher longer, and just as impactful as she was last year, but probably with some other people that have the same ability and make us a more well-rounded team.
You added also some post presence in Lily Niebuhr. Give us the backstory on that from coming from Indiana State and what you're expecting or hoping that she can provide to your roster.
Yeah, Lily's been in a tough situation at
Yeah.
Indiana State. She was out hurt last year. Tons of potential there, but she's had 3 head coaches in 3 years. And I don't know that they had a team in the spring here. I think every single person was in the portal and
Wow.
gone. And, she needed an environment change, and just kind of a fresh start. I mean, she's a big, strong, physical kid. And that's something where we felt like, Mariley's having a little off-season surgery here. Obviously, well on track to be back and recover. But, in our mind, you never know. When you're going under the knife in any situation, there's always, risks there. And so, we were pretty straightforward with Lily and what the opportunity was here to come and add depth to our post presence and be a physical player and give her a fresh start and fresh opportunity to go out and earn some minutes. And she jumped at the chance. And, I'm excited to get her in here, like I said, Monday morning and, see where she's at and see where we can get throughout the 8-week summer workout and, what that ends up being. But it's exciting to have, depth is huge in a years where there's just injuries or sickness or whatever. You don't want that to have to cost you a game. If somebody has to miss 3 games with a rolled ankle, does that mean we're going to lose 1 or 2 just because? Or do we have the pieces there to kind of weather that? And that's been important for me to try to put together here.
Last thing before I let you go, and it's great to catch up, but there's 3 new coaches in the league for this upcoming year. Is that something you reach out? Do you talk to the new ones, or is that something you wait till you get closer to the year on the new ones that took over?
Yeah, it's I've known Dennis, so I text Dennis congratulations, and we talk anyways. I've known Sophie at Oral Roberts since she was at Southwestern Oklahoma. As an assistant there. Jamie's the one that I haven't got to meet yet. Obviously, know Jamie.
Yeah.
Just how great a player she was, and have kind of followed her as a player, and then know where she's been coaching wise with Karen and being able to be on some really good staffs there. So I'm looking forward to meeting Jamie. She got great basketball experience at just about every level there is. But it'd be interesting. I feel old. I'm like the second most tenured
I was
coach
gonna
on the
say.
women's side, and I still feel like I just got here. But dang,
Yeah, getting old, man.
a lot of fresh faces.
Yeah, that's exactly right. By the way, before we go, I saw this totally coincidental that you were being on the show. I don't know if Emporia State announced new football logo helmets yesterday. Did you see this? I'll have to send it to you. Yes. We'll have to put them. Yeah,
I haven't. So no Power E on there, or what is it?
Well, it's a change. I think they got the horn on one side, but I'll send it to you afterwards because
I'd like to see it.
I don't know if
Coach Higgins does a great job there, but I want to see that.
I don't know if they ask you before they do anything like that. That's a big deal. You're a big deal there, so I want to make sure that they sign off on that.
They're not going to get my opinion on the football helmets.
It's great to catch up, bud. Have a great summer. We'll see you soon, okay?
I will. Sounds good, Dom. Thank you.
Jory Collins, NDSU women's basketball head coach, giving us an update on the women's program. A couple of games we know. So there you go. Gonzaga and Tulane are coming to Fargo, and that go on top of how they ended last season. I mean, Washington State, New Mexico State, Troy. That was great environment. That's a heck of a way to leap off the new year with getting. And I know they got to play the non-D1s, but that's some way to get some butts in the seats with some recognizable names that are going to be coming to Fargo to start the year. Good stuff there. All right, we'll break. We come back. We'll get you ready for a great Sports Thursday. A lot of good stuff happening today. We'll get you ready for it when Hot Mike wraps right after this.